jump right on in, Kathy, and thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Randy. Hello to everyone who's tuning in now or listening to the replay. My name is Kathy Archer, and I'm a leadership development coach. And if you are here today, it's probably because, as Randy said, you know the value of reaching your potential. Because I think those of us in nonprofits know that when you reach your full potential, it's then that you also get to make a big difference in the lives of those around you. And most of us are in nonprofits because we want to make a difference. However, if you're like most leaders, you hit some point in your career, I've done this too, where you feel in over your head and you're wondering if you have what it takes to lead. So the work that I do as a leadership development coach is I give you both the inner and outer tools to restore that lost confidence so that you can move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and your life. So today we're going to talk a little bit about those tools. And I just, as Randy said, I've taken the notes for you. So I wanted to let you know that there's a link with a visual summary download that you'll get. That doesn't mean you can't take notes. In fact, I encourage you to, because I think that's often how we stay focused and do our best learning. I just didn't want you to miss anything, and I've got it kind of in a cute little summary, so we'll make sure that we remind you to grab that link at the end as well. All right. So this session is about 4 confidence boosts to reach your full potential. So I want you to think for a minute about what that would mean to you if you were actually able to reach your full potential. So just consider what it would be that you would be doing. What impact would you have? Maybe what position you would be in, and how that would be different from now. And then I want you to think about what it would take for you to actually reach your full potential. The reality is that in order to do that, there's going to be a ton of hurdles along the way. There's going to be challenges and opposition, and it's going to require a ton of hard work. All of those things are the hurdles that can get in your way of reaching your full potential if you let them. But it doesn't have to be that way. The trick is to navigate those hurdles with a sense of confidence. Confidence that you can handle it. Not that it's going to be perfect or easy or a walk in the park, but knowing full well that there will be challenges along the way, and also having the confidence that you will be able to overcome those challenges. Remember, it's not always going to be easy, but with more confidence, it's going to become more manageable. And confidence becomes your secret power. So I want you to just pop some notes in the chat box, and maybe Randy will read those to me in a minute when I have a drink of water. But I want to know, if you were to reach your full potential, what it might be that you would be able to achieve. And I want you to start thinking about that as we go through the tips today about how you can apply them in a certain situation. You know, what is it that brought you to this webinar? What area are you trying to boost that confidence in? So I want you to really think about that and put some notes in the chat box. So confidence is a belief in yourself and what you can do. It's about trust and faith and believing in your skills and talents. It's all that you can learn and in your potential. And confidence comes from your head and your heart, not the world around you. Confidence is not what others think you can do or learn, or what other people believe your potential is. Confidence comes from what you believe. Your secret power is not her or him or what your mother or teacher or your boss says you're supposed to be able to do. It is you, uniquely, distinctly, and yes, powerfully you. Confidence comes from inside your head and your heart. And when you start to change what's going on inside of your head and your heart, you're going to be connecting to that inner power. And almost magically, you're going to start to feel more confident. And it's that inner confidence that's going to allow you to move forward. So it's when you get clear on who you are, what your skills and talents are, what gifts you have to offer, owning your unique personality that we all have, and understanding how that all impacts people around you. It's when you get clear on your vision about where it is you're going, your dreams, your goals for yourself and your organization. And then when you get crystal clear on why it is so important for you and your team and your organization to reach those goals, that's when you're going to connect to that inner power. And almost magically, you're going to start to feel more confident. And it's that inner confidence that's going to allow you to move forward. Randy, any comments you want to share while I have a quick drink of water?
It looks like they're not playing. Come on,
They're not playing. What the heck?
guys.
All right, you guys. That's just not fair. I should not have to do all the work today. So I'm going to keep going, but as you listen in, add some notes and comments, whether it's a question, whether it's I've been there, done that kind of thing. Just keep playing along, because you'll focus and you'll learn more if you stay engaged. All right. Ugh, I always hate sharing this picture. Let me tell you a story. In 1999, I was new to leadership, quite a bit younger than I am now, and I had no leadership training. Zero support around me. My boss was about 6 hours away. And within that first year, I was challenged many times. The biggest challenge came when the staff decided, not just within my programs, but across the entire province — I'm Canadian, if you haven't been able to figure that out yet — that they wanted to unionize. And I was suddenly thrown into the chaos of union negotiations. I had to learn how to supervise in a wee bit of a hostile environment, and I had to grow up real fast. To say at that point in time I lacked confidence is probably an understatement. But over the course of that following year, I had many conversations with my director, many meetings, many tearful episodes on the phone with my friend, and many more at home at night with my husband. Through all of that, not only did I manage to survive, but I began to start thriving as a leader. I realized that if I was going to do this thing called leadership, I'd better get some help real fast. So I started reading books on management and leadership and personal development. I took any training I could find. I registered to go back to school, and over the course of the next 8 years, I worked on my management degree. Did I also say that I have 4 children? So I was raising 4 kids, working full-time, and working on my degree. It was a little bit of a crazy time in my life. I didn't know it at the time, but a lot of the personal development work I was doing alongside of my training was teaching me about mindsets and how my thinking impacted my experience. And I realized that if I wanted a different experience, I had to change my thinking. I grew my courage. I continued to step into new territory, taking on new projects and developing my skills. I sat on provincial boards and became, directors of different things. I also quit smoking. I began to work out. I started lifting a few weights. I developed a daily yoga routine. I even took adult swimming lessons. And I lost a fair bit of extra pounds. So all of that allowed me to stand up taller and more confidently. So it's those 4 things: the training I took, the mindset shifts about how I was thinking, the courage to step outside my comfort zone, and yes, even my body posture are all things that help me to develop the confidence to successfully lead my teams. And it's these things that helped me become a more confident person are the things that I'm going to help you with today. So the training I took increased my competency levels. Watching my thoughts made sure that I had the right mindset. Acting courageously helped me to step outside that comfort zone, and standing more confidently. So I was developing my inner confidence. And it's those 4 things that are the boosts that we're going to talk about today: competency, mindset, courage, and posture. So when we start to develop that inner level of confidence, though, we start to, have that fear face us. But we have to really work through that, because let's face it, if you're going to be the leaders in your organization, in your community, if you want to be the trendsetters or the visionaries, if you want to lead yourself, your team, or even your family, you need to do it with a level of confidence. And you need the confidence to step outside of your comfort zone with your head held high and move forward. Now, I said this earlier, but you're not going to get that level of confidence by waiting for someone else to give it to you. Your board chair, your boss, your partner, the patrons that walk in the door are not going to give you permission to be confident. Something they say or do is not magically going to make you feel more confident in yourself. To remove that doubt, hesitation, fear, all of that, you have to reach inside of you. Confidence is an inner game. It comes from your thoughts and your feelings, and managing those thoughts and feelings when they show up. So where do we start? It starts with that mindset shift. So you have to start to change the way that you're thinking. And to do that, we have to get you out of your comfort zone. The problem is that most of us resist that. Fear is the thing that often gets in our way of achieving our full potential. So before I jump into talking about fear a little bit more, any comments, Randy? I'm just having a quick drink of water.
Someone would like some help with talking with
Talking.
confidence. Yep.
Yes. Getting words out of our mouths, sometimes we have good intentions, but actually spitting it out, dealing with some of those hard conversations, those difficult, challenging people in our lives can be difficult. So I'm hoping, let me know whoever made that comment, if by the end some of these boosts are going to help you do that, or if you still have some more questions. Okay, so what's the purpose of fear? In the past, fear had a different purpose than it does now. So we're going to take a little bit of a detour here and take a history lesson on fear. So back in the day, getting out of our comfort zone meant we had to leave our cave or our tent or whatever when we got hungry, needed some more furs to keep us warm. So we would go out hunting and gathering. But something would happen. We'd, get a little ways away from our safety zone, and that spidey sense would jump in, and we'd get that knot in our stomach, the tightening in our chest, the tingle across our back, sweaty palms and pits. Our heart would start to race, our throat would get dry. And yes, we would feel that sense of fear. Those physiological responses are warning signs of a potential physical threat. So there's a wild animal breathing down your neck. The storm is brewing. Or the neighboring warrior says, no, you're not coming to get my daughter or my son to procreate. And so those physical threats would have us scurry back to our comfort zone and to that safety, because if we didn't and we kept going, the potential was death. And back in the day, as I said, the kind of whole purpose of life was to procreate and keep our tribe alive. And so it was all about survival. Now, things are a little bit different now. Our comfort zone is our Lululemons or our pajama bottoms or our desk or our office or maybe this little program site, the people we know. It's not about, hunting and gathering. If we get cold, we turn up the thermostat, grab a sweater. If we get hungry, heading to the superstore is probably the scariest thing we have to do. So it's not quite the same anymore. What's now gets us out of our comfort zone is when we have to say or do something. So this comes back to that comment that we had from someone earlier about, saying something. We might have to address an issue with the staff. Maybe we have to send an email. Maybe we have to start a new program or close one. It might be saying no to someone or yes to a new adventure. But when we have to get outside of our comfort zone by saying or doing something, we have that same physiological response in our body that our ancestors felt when they left their cave. We get the knot in our stomach, the tightening in our chest, tingles across the back of our neck, sweaty palms and pits. Our heart starts to race, our throat gets dry. And yes, we feel fear. But this time it's not an emotional threat. We're faced with this time it's not a physical threat, we're faced with an emotional threat. Here's the thing. We're afraid of being abandoned, judged, and rejected. People might not like what we have to say. They might quit. They might not support me. They might think I'm an idiot. They will throw me under the bus at the meeting instead of supporting me. They'll unfriend me on Facebook. We're a little bit afraid of what might happen. And so it's that emotional threat that sends us scurrying back to our comfort zone, just like our ancestors did. But here's the thing about our comfort zone. It's not really comfortable. We tolerate others' bullying. We settle for less than stellar jobs. We comply with policies, rules, and processes that hinder our work. We shut down, shut up, withdraw, check out, say, I'm just going to do my job, and then I'm going to go home. So rather than stepping out courageously and confidently, we wimp out. We play it safe. We're afraid to take risks. And we certainly aren't daring or bold. We just go along with the crowd. But here's the thing now. On the other side of fear is not death anymore, not most of the time. There are very few things, unless you're going bungee jumping or something like that, that is going to, cause you to die. The threat, the other side of those threats is actually your potential. It's where the real living happens. And it's when we get over there that we start to experience our greatest success, where we feel most fulfilled, where we love what we do and we're doing our best work and we enjoy it. The purpose of fear now is actually pointing you in a direction. It's pointing you to your full potential. When we experience that fear now, it's giving us the direction we need to move towards. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're hanging out in your comfort zone and all is going well, and then you have an urge. Perhaps that urge is to apply in a new contract, start a new program, expand services, address an issue with the staff, take some new kind of training, maybe apply for a promotion or a new job. Anytime you have to act on that urge means you're going to have to leave your comfort zone. Again, you're going to have to say or do something. So you step out of your comfort zone and you enter that place that's not so comfortable. And you feel very uncomfortable. I call this the discomfort zone. So maybe you're used to speaking at a community meeting or a staff meeting, and now somebody's asked you to speak at a conference. Or rather than just writing an article for your company newsletter or posting on your site's Facebook page, somebody's actually asked you to write a journal article for a bigger organization. And the same thing happens. You get that knot in your stomach, the tightening in your chest, the tingle across your back, sweaty palms and pits. And you start to think, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough, skilled enough. I don't have enough experience. If it's me, I'm going to be like, my grammar and spelling suck. You've probably seen some in this presentation already. Spelling mistakes are my signature point. But you start to make a whole bunch of excuses about why you can't do it. I'm too busy. Somebody else would be good for the job. But yet, here's the thing. If you actually move through that discomfort zone, your comfort zone grows. And you start to do tasks that you used to feel uncomfortable with, and it starts to feel more comfortable. So instead of that tiny little circle, it's when our kids move farther and farther away from us. First, they go to elementary school, and it's only half days, and then they go a little bit farther, and then before we know it, they're moving away from home. And so that discomfort zone grows even farther when it before. So when you do that, you have to start thinking about this spot here, and this is where the magic happens. I call this your zone of potential. And you want to get to the point where you're stretching, feeling uncomfortable, but not to the point of snapping. So we have to really try and stay in that zone. So I want you to think about some things that you've done in your life that have been uncomfortable but worth it, and put a note in the chat box. So, perhaps it's going back to school, climbing a mountain, applying on a new position. What have you done that's been uncomfortable but worth it? And I'm going to have a quick drink again. And we'll get Randy to read those after, because I know you guys are typing furiously away right now. All right. So here's the thing.
They're being much better this time.
Oh, maybe I should wait. Got some comments for me?
Asking someone on a date, moving to a new country. Those are a couple.
Yes, those are perfect examples. And you know what's funny? It may be asking somebody on a date that is new to you if you're single, but it could also be when you've been in a marriage for a number of years and you ask your partner whom you guys have not been having, the best relationship with on a date too. So there's some things. I was talking about this the other day. I belong to Toastmasters, and sometimes we get comfy in our relationships at work or at home. And yeah, it's like, how do we have the courage to say, let's try something different? Maybe you're used to doing supervision with your employees in the office. What if you went for a walk? That might take a little bit of courage to say that, but you might have a whole different staff or supervision meeting with them. Okay, so again, here's the thing. We need to have some courage to get outside of our comfort zone, and this is where the confusion comes in. We wait to do things until we feel confident. We hold off until we're sort of ready. But as you've seen, fear points us in a direction. And so we need to feel that fear and get moving in that direction. And we have to, when you think about confidence, let's think about it in leadership for a minute. One of the traits of successful leaders is that they have a high level of confidence and self-confidence. They are self-assured. That level of confidence did not come from hanging out in their comfort zone. Leaders get that degree of confidence by being brave and taking risks. They become more confident by boldly doing things that are uncomfortable, awkward, and yes, even scary. But the more times they push outside their comfort zone, the bigger their comfort zone grows. Remember, we've seen the circle before. So a successful leader progressively becomes more and more confident at more things. And they do that by being daring to step outside their comfort zone. So being courageous increases your confidence. Increased confidence gives you a boost of courage. And each time you step more and more outside that comfort zone, you spiral upwards. So each time you speak in public, voice your opinion, try a new task, travel further. And each time you do that, you get that tremendous boost of confidence. But it starts with first having the courage. So courage and confidence go hand in hand. When you realize that, you start to be able to think more again about your potential. So come back to that for a second. The point of boosting your confidence is so that you can reach your potential. So think about what you were afraid to write down at the beginning of the webinar. You can still write it down, we'll let you. But if you were to reach your full potential, what would you be doing that? You know, is it still the same as you were thinking? Has it shifted? But I want you to think about what's possible for you to sort of get outside of that zone of comfort zone and move into that zone of potential. Because that's where the magic happens. If you move into that zone of potential, you'll really find that you're able to do things as a leader in your organization and really make the impact that you desire. So let's go back to the 4 hacks. These are the 4 ways, I call them 4 confidence boosts. So it's increasing your competency, shifting your mindset, and having good posture. Let's go through these a little bit in more detail. So if someone, handed you a ball of yarn and knitting needles and you've never been taught to knit, you probably couldn't make a sweater. In order to increase your confidence, you need to feel competent. That means you need to know how to do something. You need to have the knowledge, you need to have the skills. So maybe you didn't know how to knit, but if you went and sat with your grandma for a few times or read instruction manuals or watched a few YouTube videos, the chance of you being able to do it would be a lot better. But you need the information on how to do it, the skills to feel competent so that you can feel more confident. So when I became a manager, I was pretty proud that I'd had the opportunity to travel to the city and partake in those big meetings. And I'd sit around the boardroom table. And although I was kind of nervous, I could usually put my voice into the conversation because I knew my stuff about my programs and my clients. I was competent in the areas of parenting. I had taught parenting in our communities with our child protection organizations for a number of years. I was really adept with fetal alcohol services, community development, that kind of stuff. So I felt confident to at least share my voice into the meetings. However, when the meetings were done and when we went out for supper, the fear would start to creep in. I would wish for ways to get out of those business suppers. My challenge was I hadn't spent a lot of time in fancy restaurants prior to moving into leadership positions. I was not cultured. I grew up on a farm. I was a 4-H girl. I knew my way around the corral. I could drive a tractor, but I had spent very little time in restaurants. Not fancy restaurants, A&W. I don't know if you guys have A&W in the States, but burgers was about as good as it got for me and my family. So when it came time to attend the business dinners, I didn't know how to order. And so I got away for the most part by simply sticking to whatever chicken dish I could. But when it came to ordering wine, I felt absolutely foolish. Not only did I not only know anything about wine, I couldn't pronounce it. So I lacked the confidence to order because I didn't have the knowledge, skills, and experience in ordering at higher end restaurants. And that made me feel inferior to my colleagues. So when we contemplate our ability to do a job, we need to think more broadly sometimes. I mean, part of it is you have the prescribed credentials, but it's more than that. Beyond my wine story, one of the other things I struggled with was networking. I hated small talk and I didn't know what to do with myself at breaks during meetings or conferences. And at that point in time, there was no cell phones to hide my head in. So what did I do? I headed to the local library and I got my hand on several books on networking or working the room. And I learned some tricks. And so as my competence in that area of networking increased, so did my confidence. So I want you to think again about confidence and competence. Can you actually do your job? Do you have the skills, the talents, the ability? What basic training do you need? What extra knowledge? I mean, I remember when my boss hired me, he said, "What do you know about budgeting and accounting?" And I'm like, I balanced my checkbook. That was it. I didn't know how to read spreadsheets or profit loss statements or anything. So what is it that you need to feel more competent in? And so once you've taken the skill, then you need to practice. We all know that practice makes, no, actually, it's not perfect. If you keep practicing the same process of hiding your face in your cell phone every time the meeting breaks, you'll be an expert at avoiding conversations. If you want to get good at something, you need to do what's called deliberate practice. That is practicing outside your comfort zone. So researchers on experts in mastery has shown that experts are made, not born, and they put in a lot of practice. In fact, you might have heard this before, about 10,000 hours. So think about an expert karate instructor or a concert pianist or a surgeon or a really great leader you know. They have practiced their craft over time. So the catch is, the famous piano player was not practicing chopsticks over and over and over again. They were practicing scales that felt uncomfortable, awkward, and hard. At first, they didn't know how to do them, so they had to step outside of their comfort zone to practice them. The same is true for you. You need to practice your skills outside of your comfort zone. If you want to get better at networking, you can't practice with the same group of 15 people for 10 years. You need to go into new social situations and practice. All right. So first competence hack, know you can. Increase your competence. So, think about what is it that I need to learn to skill base. Let me try that again. What skill do I need to learn or grow or develop? Where do I need to increase my confidence? Competence, maybe that's conflict resolution. So that's the first confidence hack. Know you can. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Most of us have read this book. This is the second confidence hack. Believe you can. It's your mindset. If the little engine was saying, I don't know if I can, I don't think I can, it seems pretty impossible, do you think he would have even tried? He certainly wouldn't have been successful. And the same is true for us. Confidence is believing in ourselves, our ability to learn, and in our potential. The challenge is, most of us have these overactive gremlins in our head that go crazy half the time. Doubt, fear, paralyzing hesitation, persistent uncertainty. Our inner dialogue natters at us incessantly. Are you sure? I don't know if you should. That's not quite right. That was stupid. What if so-and-so doesn't like it? You're going to be setting yourself up for a big fight. That's how our mind works. And it's our inner attitude that makes an incredible difference. So it's the mindset. The view you adopt of yourself profoundly affects the way you lead and live your life. So Carol Dweck is a researcher at Stanford University, and she's discovered two mindsets connected to motivation. The first one is a fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their qualities are carved in stone. This is who I am. This is the lot I've been given. What you see is what you get. And so they'll say things like, I'm not very talented, or you'll hear some leaders say, I'm not good at math. I don't have a creative bone in my body. I'm not good at speaking. Don't waste your time trying to teach me. I'm never good at conflict resolution. We have those sort of fixed mindsets. The second mindset, though, that Carol talks about is a growth mindset. And people with a growth mindset believe that the basic qualities can be cultivated through effort. So maybe it's going to take some work, but they believe they can develop some talents. And so they'll say things like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Maybe it's going to take some time, but I'll master it. I might need to get some help, but I'll get it. And it's when you cultivate that growth mindset that you're able to develop that courage. So rather than those gremlin thoughts in your head running amok with your confidence, we need to get control over our thoughts and turn up the volume on our inner cheerleader. We need that voice inside of us that's saying, sure, it's hard, but you've got this. I can do this. I'll figure it out because it matters to me and my team. Remember earlier when we were talking about knowing why what you're trying to do is so important. Your inner cheerleader is going to remind you why it's so important. She's going to say, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And so that's that inner voice, is you have to turn the volume up on that voice that's encouraging you, helping you to grow and develop, and turn down that voice on the inner gremlin. So that's the second confidence hack. Believe you can. In order to increase your confidence, you need to believe in your capabilities, your potential, and your ability to grow. Any questions, Randy, before I keep rolling along?
No questions.
All right. Just make sure I'm not talking to myself or something. I've done that before.
No, they're interacting. They're just no questions.
All right. Good. Okay. Confidence hack number 3, act like you can. This is about leaning into fear that we talked about a minute ago. You need to act courageously before you feel the confidence within you. Again, the problem is most of us just want to stay in our safe, cozy zone. And I want you to start noticing the urges to play safe. Pay attention to when you tolerate things, when you tend to settle, when you comply or withdraw. So my comfort zone was when things got tense in my team, I would hide out in my office. I would shut the door with the pretense of needing to get work done. But quite honestly, I was hiding out. People might have described me as distant, unavailable. Maybe you come to work late, stay late, try to work when nobody's around. Maybe you work from home. I did that one lots. You keep very busy. You don't have enough time to talk to people. And you pull back and withdraw. It's because you're playing safe. But remember, courage and confidence go hand in hand, but courage comes first. You have to step outside of your comfort zone and you have to start practicing. So just start thinking about where you can get into that zone of potential. Again, you don't want to snap, but maybe you can chair the next meeting instead of just sitting there being a participant. Maybe you can volunteer to take on new roles or positions, ask for new assignments, talk more or talk less at meetings. Maybe you can ask for help, admit you don't know. Those are all ways of practicing that. So, third confidence hack, act like you can. In order to increase your confidence, start with courage. Don't wait for confidence to show up. Be brave, step outside your comfort zone, and confidence will follow. Okay, fourth hack, stand like you can. I want you for a minute to just kind of slouch over, pull your shoulders in, head down, kind of like you're protecting yourself or you're not feeling very good. And just imagine in this position, bravely stating your opinion to someone. You've got to address a conflict with someone or you want to share something at a meeting. Imagine trying to do that. And then sit up tall, chin up, shoulders back, and see if you feel anything different. Most of us will. Most of us will feel a surge of confidence as we shift our postures. So we all know that our body posture sends off nonverbal messages to others, but new research has shown that how you hold your body also sends messages to you, messages about whether you feel confident or scared. Researcher Amy Cuddy has discovered that when you change your body posture, you can change both the way you feel and behave. So she's discovered that when you sit or stand in what she calls a high power position for just 2 minutes, it increases your testosterone in your body, which increases that feeling of power, and it decreases your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So I want you to do it with me now if you can, and don't worry about all the people in your office watching you thinking you're weird. I want you to stand up and make yourself as big as possible. And you stand like this for 2 minutes. However, the point of this exercise is not to intimidate other people and not to do it in the middle of the meeting, but to do it before you go into those difficult meetings. So if you haven't stood up, stand up, put your hands on your hips, feet about, shoulder width apart, or put your hands straight up in the air. Think about how people look when they cross the finish line, right? Hands up, totally confident. This changes the chemistry in your body and it's sending messages to you. So here's the thing. Do this in your office with the door shut. Go to the bathroom, go to the parking parkade if you can. And before you have to go into that next difficult meeting, stand in that power position for 2 minutes. Literally set the timer because you won't have any idea how long it is. I do this all the time. If you see me at a conference speaking and head to the bathroom before, you'll see me power posing in the bathroom. Sometimes I'll just do it when I'm walking around the room, and I'll just like walk tall and confidently. People don't have to know that you're doing this if you can't hide and get away. But even when you're in the middle of the meeting, I hope you're still standing in your power pose. Even when you're in the middle of the meeting, simply rolling your shoulders back and sitting tall for a couple minutes helps you to do that. Okay, you can sit down now. We didn't do it for 2 full minutes, but I'll let you go. So if you want, search up Amy Cuddy TED Talk, and she has a powerful, powerful TED Talk that talks about the power of power posing. And again, the intent of power posing is not to have an effect on other people. The intent is to boost your inner confidence, to awaken those chemicals inside of you that make you feel confident and reduce your stress. So that's the fourth confidence hack. Stand like you can. Know that when you put your body in that position, you are talking to your body and telling you it's safe and okay to do that. So that's the 4 confidence hacks. Know you can, act like you can, believe you can, and stand like you can. And it's those 4 confidence hacks that's going to help you step outside your comfort zone into your zone of potential. But here's the challenge. This little gremlin has not necessarily gone away. It's those voices in your head, the doubt, the fear, the hesitation, the tendency to procrastinate, the urge to wait to the perfect time, or the desire to run and hide that are going to get in your way. So I'm going to give you a quick run of a tool to use that can help you get control of those thoughts in your brain. Any questions, Randy, before I keep going?
Good to go? You're in the clear.
All right. Okay, so Randy's in the link that Randy shared. He's given you a link to my book, Mastering Confidence. So this is all in there if you're interested in getting a deeper dive into that. So one of the things that you have to do to start believing in yourself and have more courage is you really do have to access that inner power. And I call that your inner guidance system. It's that inner wisdom. And so it's like that compass inside us that points us in the direction we need to go. Often that's a moral compass. You know, sometimes when we're staying quiet, it's not because, again, we're afraid of something physical, but it's a moral issue. Somebody's done something with money that you're like questioning, or somebody has done something that's unfair or unjust, or you feel like there's a way that you could step forward with a little bit more of the values that your organization espouses. So it's often those kinds of things that we have to do. But the problem is most of us are so busy running from here to there, ticking off our to-do list, responding to emails, dealing with the latest fire, that we don't take time to tune in and listen to that inner wisdom. So we get faced with those challenges. Remember the dog jumping over the hurdles earlier? And our first thought is, oh my God, this isn't going to work. I can't do this. It's too tough. And it stops us from getting outside of our comfort zone. So we need to slow down and connect to that inner wisdom and, really be able to talk ourselves through that thing. So let me walk you through this system that I've developed. The first thing that we need to talk about is becoming more mindful and aware. Now, all of us can sit down in the middle of a meeting, we can't sit down in the middle of a meeting, put our hands up and say, wait, I need to connect to my inner guidance system and, think this through more clearly. If only we could. If we could hit that pause button sometimes and be more intentional about our decisions and our choices, but it doesn't work that way. So we need to practice this sometimes outside so that we can use it inside. But this system, there's 4 steps. So it's the pause, ponder, pivot, and proceed. So pause is when you stop and pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, and your body sensations. Remember we talked about the feeling in your stomach, the racing heart, the sweaty palms and pits. Those body sensations tell you when you're starting to feel that fear. And if we can tune into them and recognize them when they first show up, we can slow down and get control of what we're thinking and manage that inner gremlin. So that's the pause. Then ponder is consider the messages you're thinking. Pivot is that mindset piece. Shift your thoughts to more confidence thoughts. And then proceed is the courage piece, getting back into action. So taking pauses is not something most of us do as leaders. We don't do this well. We're always go, go, go. We plow forward, we push on, we suffer through things. The problem is when we do this, this never allows times for our feelings and thoughts to catch up to us. If you've ever done this, you know that when you slow down, it gives you that opportunity to connect to what's been going on. If you're, sometimes when we're driving, sometimes when we're in the shower, we're like, oh my God, I just had the most amazing thought come to me, or you get those creative ideas. But we don't make time for that to slow down, take a break, pause, reflect. And so when we do that, what we tend to do is spend most of our time in reactionary mode. We're just reacting to whatever comes our way. So pausing is stopping, pulling back, taking a break. And initially, you're going to have to schedule pauses in. We aren't going to do this just by thinking, oh yeah, I'll take more coffee breaks. You need to actually put a little timer on your watch or your phone, or schedule it into your day timer. It might be that you schedule time to write in a journal in the mornings or in the evenings. Maybe go for a walk where you're able to reflect more. But you need to get really clear about this. In the book, there's a whole chapter devoted to how to find time and make time to pause more. Once you've paused, then, as I said, you need to do this ponder piece. You need to start observing, what went on in that meeting this morning? Why did that trigger me? You need to examine sort of what the feelings and thoughts are that you're having. What stopped me from saying what I wanted to say? What were the feelings that I was having? Maybe it's that you felt shame or embarrassment. I used to always worry when I started talking that my words would come out all wrong and I wouldn't sound smart, or I wouldn't be as smart as the other people in the room. So I would hold back sometimes. So pondering lets us, really connect to some of that stuff, and we start to get more aware of the subtle differences between anger, annoyance, irritation. We start to notice the difference in the feeling in our stomach from when I'm hungry to when I'm scared. And we then can sometimes go, oh wait, that's not actually fear, that's excitement. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. And we can start to notice our own opinions, judgments, or assumptions that we have of ourselves. And then we do that pivot piece. We take a turn and we're like, okay, these thoughts aren't getting me where I want to go. They're not helping me move forward. So the pausing allowed you to sort of notice make time to notice. The pondering gets you there, but pivoting actually helps you start to see the challenge in a new way, the person that you have to go deal with from another perspective, maybe starts to see things from a broader view instead of that head down, nose to the grindstone sort of feeling. And you start to get curious about, okay, so if I want this outcome, what's going to get me there? So it often is the part that gets us unstuck. And then, quite honestly, the last step, proceed, is often the hardest, because this is where we take the courage. Maybe you've realized you need to go have that hard conversation with your staff, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Or maybe you finally made a decision. You had two people vying for a position. You had to, pick one of them, or only one of them to go to certain training. And so this is where it's uncomfortable. It's awkward. You have to send that controversial email, take the next big step. And sometimes it's that fear that paralyzes us. And we have to really start to recognize that that's what it is, and know that there's going to be that 30-second awkward conversation, saying you're sorry, setting your boundary, making the call, and that's going to get the ball rolling again, get moving, and get you on to the other side, over to your potential. So that's when you move out of that little teeny tiny comfort zone and you really start to reach your full potential. So if you want to know more, again, Randy's got the link in there to my book. It's also, there's links on my website. You can listen to the first few chapters of the audiobook for free there as well. And so you can do that. And he's also given you the link to, I've got a visual summary of all of those 4 confidence boosts for you. So those are the 4 things that you need to remember. You need to start to make sure that you have the competency, know you can. You have to start working on your mindset, believe you can. You have to act like you can, just recognize that courage comes before confidence, and stand like you can. When you're in the meeting, don't slouch over and sit on your phone the whole time. Roll your shoulders back, chin up, chest out. Feel confident yourself, and you will start to speak more confidently. All right, Randy, any questions I need to answer as I wind up here on the slides?
Right now, we're clear. Someone is thanking you for this helpful webinar, so that's great. Someone loves 4-H, and I do too. So
I do too. Yay. Yes. If you have any questions, I have time to answer them. If you want me to slide back to some notes that you want to see, let me know, and I can do that as well. As I say, I think the biggest challenge we have is not being aware of this, and not sort of recognizing how it is the inner process of our thoughts that often get in the way, and learning to manage those thoughts. One of the things, I do other webinars and training on emotional intelligence, and it's one of the biggest things that we look for in leadership is a leader who is stable and has sort of the presence of mind to deal with issues and stuff. And you don't get that level of emotional intelligence until you slow down and get a handle on your thoughts and feelings and learn to manage them. What most of us do is we try to shut off our emotions, press them down, and don't let me be emotional in this meeting. But what if you are angry? Like, if you don't learn to manage that, you're just going to hold it, and then bam, you're going to blow up, and it's not going to be a pretty time scene. So it's really that inner process of learning to get a handle on your thoughts that's critical. And it's one of the things that we're not taught. We're taught as leaders how to balance budgets, how to do scheduling. Now we're taught all of these technical things, but we're not taught how to manage what's going on inside of us. And that's often what gets in the way of our best leadership and our ability to move into our full potential. Any extra questions, thoughts that you guys have for me? Links?
Yeah, people are just thanking you, and I think I will just do the same.
All right.
So thank you for boosting my confidence today, and I appreciate you giving us of your time today, and I thank everyone for listening in. There are some others have chimed in with some pretty good challenges of confidence, and I wish you all the best as you ask your boyfriend to marry you and go through a difficult illness while going to grad school and all of those kinds of things. That's tough stuff, and I hope that you're able to take something from this to move you forward in those kinds of things. So with that, you go out and have a great weekend, everyone, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you everyone for tuning in.